Hi there, this is Solitary Ronan from Solitary Ronan Films, and welcome to another episode of I Finally Watched. And today is a film that I've heard so much about, but I've never quite got around to watching it. But I have finally got around to watching this film finally. From 2008, it's Sion Sono's Love Exposure. Now, quite a lot of people in the community absolutely love Sion Sono, obviously from Japan. I haven't seen that many Sono films. Cold Fish was a good film, kind of left me cold. Tag, which I have in the collection, again is a good film, but I wouldn't say it's a great film. Again, Tokyo Tribe, I lasted about 15 minutes before I switched it off. Again, I was maybe just not in the mood. But Love Exposure is supposed to be one of his masterworks, or arguably his best film. And I have to say, it is probably the greatest, the most wonderful Sion Sono film that I've watched. It is 237 minutes long, but I did feel that it did actually fly by, apart from probably the epilogue. There's a point in the film, and Love Exposure fans will probably be able to think of the moment that I feel he possibly could have just ended the film, but there is an epilogue, and that to me was the last 15 minutes or so. I did start feeling the length and did kind of feel this should be 229 minutes instead of 237 minutes. But unlike some of his other films that I've seen, it has excellent characters that you're actually invested in, and it's the simple story of kind of two religious factions, if you will. A father who's a priest and his son, who are Christians, and a group that is part of the Zero cult. I mean, all religions are cults, really, devoted to invisible friends and extorting money from people. And it really kind of, I think there's sort of 4 parts to the film when we see from the Christian family side, and then we see it from one of the characters in the Zero cult, and then we see it from a character kind of caught in between. It is an 18 certificate. I mean, it starts off fairly mellow, but there is some arterial spray and genital mutilation, all good, happy-go-lucky Japanese things. Of course, there's upskirt panty photographs. I mean, what could be more Japanese than that? But it's really about, a father turning away his son just because he was scorned by a gold digger, and then he kind of falls back on his and gets more and more extreme into his religion, and forces the son to kind of recant all these sins, even though he's actually a good boy and doesn't sin. But then it drives, his father drives him so up the wall that he ends up, he's got to sin, and he falls in with a bad crowd who are just in awe of his sinning potential. It is funny where it's supposed to be funny. It is brutal in the places it's supposed to be brutal. But unlike the other Sono films that I've seen, again, as characters you are invested in. It does have a heart somewhere, even if it's being ripped from somebody's chest. Great performances. Again, it flows really well. The chapters, if you like, work really well. But I was just left with the feeling it's just a touch too long, which again is a minor kind of element. If you're familiar with the female Scorpion films, there's obviously a nice homage to the female Scorpion films, and there's also a homage to Kieślowski's Three Colours Blue by using the same biblical passages that were used by Kieślowski in The Greatest Montage in Cinema History. Again, I don't, as much as I love Three Colours Blue, I don't agree with the sentiment from those biblical passages the same way I don't agree with the sentiment when they're used in Love Exposure. But I get, most people might agree with that. But yeah, I mean, it was going the way of a 4-star film, and then it was going on the way of being a 5-star film. But then I just felt, like you sometimes feel that the film goes past the point where it should have ended. So it went back to a 4-star film, which I know is sacrilege to lots of people, because there's lots of 5-star ratings, and that's fine. I mean, it's certainly a film that I will revisit, because again, as I said, the characters are well worth revisiting, and again, it has some wonderful moments. So I finally watched Sion Sono's Love Exposure. Again, there's some images on the back which sums up the film. This is the third window. It's a 2 Blu-ray set, because the other disc on bonus features has an hour-long making of. It's got a 30-minute additional making of with interviews with Sono and the person who inspired the film, Sakura Ando. There's deleted and extended scenes. There's Hikari Mitsumina deleted and extended scenes. There's a Zero Church deleted scene and a trailer. Unfortunately, no Tom Mess commentary, which I'm sure would have been fascinating. But yes, I would agree with the people who say this is a great film. I mean, for me, it's not in the conversation for my favourite film watch of the year. But it was on the way to being a 5-star film for me, but it just pipped itself to the post, with maybe outstaying its welcome a little bit. But again, maybe that's just my kind of jaded worldview rather than anything to do with Sion Sono. So as I said, it's the best Sono film I've watched so far. I might not rush out and buy more Sonos for a little while, because as you're aware, I do have enough directors to get through, but it's certainly whetted my appetite for more Sono, because as I said, the characters are just better written than the couple of other Sono films that I've seen, better written, and as I said, more engaging. Yeah, and a lot of the time that can be the difference between you liking a film and you kind of loving a film. So yeah, Love Exposure from 2008. I finally watched Sion Sono's masterwork, and I do have to agree with the group sentiment that it is very, very good. As begrudgingly as that is for me to admit. So thanks so much for watching. Please let me know if you finally watched Love Exposure, or whether you belong to the Love Exposure cult, who thinks it's absolutely brilliant and one of the greatest things ever made. And hopefully you'll join me again for more episodes of I Finally Watched. This is Solitary Ronin from Solitary Ronin Films, saying farewell